Welcome back to another TradeOut's technical analysis. In this video, we're going to be covering Polkadot and why I think it looks pretty decent here among the sea of red that you're seeing across the crypto sphere this weekend. Really ugly price action overall, but I think Polkadot looks pretty decent. Let's get to the charts. All right, so here we have Polkadot on the hourly time frame. So this is the USDT pairing. You can see over here on the right, my goodness, it's been a brutal weekend so far. I really thought Bitcoin had a chance to pop yesterday. That did not happen, obviously. And it's acting pretty heavy. Although I think we are pretty close to support region. Wouldn't be surprised if we did get a little pop up, but overall, it's been a rough weekend so far. But anyway, Polkadot. This is again USDT pairing. You can see that we kind of had this trend line here that's been governing. This has been pretty good resistance for Polkadot. You've had, rejection, come back up, another rejection before you got your classic breakout and actually got a pretty decent move off of that. It looked, Polkadot looked really strong. Right back to your weekly pivot, which has been really good resistance overall. And, this is kind of timed with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been struggling most of today. So, Polkadot, it's tied into Bitcoin. Not surprising that we got this pullback here. But overall, again, I think it still looks pretty good. So some levels of interest to me. Obviously, we kind of fell back. We're right around this trend line. Still, that's been a really important, support resistance for it overall. But really, it's this weekly pivot. You can see strong resistance here about the $35 mark. And then your support's been here at your S1 weekly pivot around $27. Also down to this daily level. If I actually switch this over, I'm curious what the monthly pivots look like. So let's switch this over because we're actually getting new monthly pivots really soon too. But you pull out, oh, look at that. So your R4 pivot resistance fell back down. R3 pivot is now kind of your, if you look, you've been kind of going back and forth over your R3 pivot, been a nice SR flip area. And then the R2 pivot actually caught this low flawlessly. I mean, that is literally a perfect test of your R2 pivot right there before you got a really nice bounce. So definitely this R2 monthly pivot, this daily area, this looks to be really strong support. But let me actually pull a range here. I'm curious. Kind of curious here. Trying to think, where do I want to pull this from? So I guess maybe kind of something like this. Oh, wow, look at that. You're literally sitting right on your point of control right here. And this is of this piece of price action right here. It's kind of like when you had your grind up, a little bit of a spike, you got your pullback, and then a really big impulse up, came back down to retest here. So this is kind of the range that I am eyeballing. And if you actually draw your range levels out, so here's your value area high. Wow, look at that. That's nice. Point of control, which you're literally sitting on. This is really big support right here. And then you have your value area low right here, which look at, oh my goodness, look at that. Look at these levels. I'll delete this so you can see this. But literally your value area low, wow. Right, I mean, right, it's like to the penny. See that test right there. So on this spike down, you came through your value area low, daily SR, and then this is your one of your monthly pivots. But really nice reaction, came back down, perfectly back tested your value area low. So these range levels that I've drawn out here, and look at your value area high. I mean, talk about like perfect resistance, right? So this range that we're in currently, it wouldn't surprise me for it to kind of continue. But this $27, $28 region, your value area low, daily level, I think that this is very strong support. You're sitting right on your point of control right now. It's trying to hold that. This is your local support. This is a very important level. And then you have your value area high resistance here at 35. Like this is spot on. This is spot on. So I think, kind of looking at where Polkadot is right now versus USDT, if we do lose a point of control, especially if Bitcoin continues to be as weak as it's been, I wouldn't be surprised for it to kind of pull one of these where, you know, you kind of work your way down, maybe get a spike down to your value area low, daily SR level, something like that. But I really would expect a bounce there. Again, Polkadot, and I'll show you in the Bitcoin pairing why I think that, because the Bitcoin chart looks quite a bit different. And then obviously if you're able to hold this point of control as support, where it looks, you know, if you literally look at the wicks, I mean, man, if I zoom in, like it is spot on point of control. Like this is how you know when your levels are really good and you're pulling good ranges, because like this is spot on. This is spot on. I mean, literally wick, wick, wick through wick, like no closures. You got this, you know, deviation right here. That's totally fine. It happens. It's never going to be that perfect. But I mean, overall, very good. Value area low, perfect. Like this is a really good, these are really good levels to watch in my opinion. So again, as long as you're above point of control though, I do look for this to push. And I'll show you again in the Bitcoin chart why I think that. But if you clear this value area high resistance, which is this very big resistance at the moment, then, you know, you have your weekly open here around $39. It wouldn't surprise me, you know, if Polkadot continues higher, but it really needs Bitcoin to take a leg up, because Bitcoin looks pretty, honestly looks pretty bad right now. So again, these are your levels to watch. Point of control, major support. If you lose it, could be major resistance. Then you have your value area low, daily level around here. This region, I'll actually draw a box for you. This region, I think, is pretty big support. If I had, like, I think it's very big support. If I took a fib, I'm just curious if anything else lines up. Yeah, I mean, your 786, well, you already tested your 786, so, but I still think that this level likely holds. I wouldn't be surprised, because Polkadot, it honestly looks pretty good. So that's the USDT chart. Again, your levels, very good levels. You should, if you don't have these marked on your chart, you should mark them down. Now on a Bitcoin chart, this is kind of where it gets a little bit, this is why I think Polkadot honestly looks pretty good. So you can see, like, on the Bitcoin pairing, you're at all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, look at that. Like, this is a really good looking chart. So obviously you have like your long down move, you know, and then you have a massive impulsive move up. Again, let me see. I'm gonna throw on some Ichimoku here. I mean, this is a really strong move. Now, you know, so your R1, is this your monthly or weekly? Monthly pivot. So your R1 monthly pivot is a local support region. You have your Tenkan, which has really caught moves very nicely. You haven't had a Kijun retest yet, so that's kind of something that I'm eyeballing. If you were to get a close below your Tenkan, I think that would be kind of the first initial sign that you could get your equilibrium or your reversion, your mean reversion play, which would be a Kijun retest at some point. But I would be very interested in that level if I did get that opportunity. But as it sits, you know, this is a very bullish chart. There's nothing wrong with this chart. And, you know, as far as, you know, so you can kind of see why I'm also showing the Bitcoin pairing, because at the Bitcoin pairing, you're at all-time highs for the most part. Polkadot's holding up really strong against Bitcoin. Obviously, again, weak market overall today. You're down 4.8% against Bitcoin. But literally your yesterday's candle, you were at all-time highs. So like, that's like, this right here is why I think Polkadot is definitely a place to take a look at. In this overall market that's been pretty weak, Polkadot's been a nice play. So, you know, like I said, things look rough out there. We'll kind of have to see how Monday plays out when futures start opening up to see, are we going to get, you know, continued downside, or do we have a possible, you know, where we get a little bit of a relief rally coming into early next week, which would only really, you know, it would only help Polkadot even more. But if you're looking for an altcoin to be in, again, this isn't financial advice, but you look for charts like this that are performing really well in these types of markets, especially against Bitcoin. Like if you're, you know, if you want to, you know, you got to find charts like this. We've had like a really rough past few days, for sure, and Polkadot has done very well. So these are the types of charts that you want to find. But anyway, that's it for me. Short video tonight. Just wanted to do a quick, you know, I came across this chart, wanted to share it with everybody. But hope you guys have a good night. Trade safe out there. We'll see you in the next video.